Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another Q&A video on Forgotten Weapons. I'm Ian McCollum, and I decided to try a little bit of an experiment this year. I was recently at SHOT Show 2022, and I thought it would be interesting to get questions from you guys, from the patrons who make Forgotten Weapons possible, specifically for exhibitors at SHOT Show, things that you would like to ask of companies in the industry. So a little bit different than our normal format. It went actually pretty well. I think I got some pretty cool questions. Unfortunately, a bunch of the companies weren't there, but let's take a look at what the guys who were there had to say. All right, so Dunlop wants me to go to HK and ask, is there a potential to add 10mm to H&K's lineup? It seems to be a growing in popularity sort of cartridge, and it'd be really cool to see an HK 10mm pistol.
Dunlop, I'm your Huckleberry. I have been a broken record about 10mm at HK since I've been there. I'm not getting a lot of traction yet, but I'm saying not just for you, but for me, I will be relentless and I will not give up the fight for 10mm. I'm your guy.
Why 10mm?
Because 10mm is the best millimeter. Because they don't make an 11.
Any other cool stuff that you're trying to push HK to do? Like this is a phenomenally pro-customer service attitude from a company who's certainly memed out the notion of not being customer.
MP5 and 9x23 Winchester.
Ooh.
Nobody listens to me though.
Maybe they will now.
Maybe they will now, or I'll get fired for this. I don't know.
All right. Thank you very much.
You betcha.
All right, Timothy has a question for M+M Industries, and that is, will the DMR version of your flagship M10X ever be available in the US instead of being a Canadian exclusive?
Yeah, so the 18-inch barrel rifle is available in the US. Right now it's mainly available exclusively through our website at mm-industries.com, and you can buy one there, and you don't have to live in Canada for that one.
Not actually an exclusive.
It is not a Canadian exclusive.
So Ryan had a question for Aimpoint, very simple. Will anything other than a simple red dot reticle be offered?
Absolutely not. No, I really can't answer the question exactly, but I will tell you that it's not very likely, and the reason for that really goes into your biology and physiology. So the argument for a circle dot reticle or anything along those lines, it really requires of you to negotiate with the pistol. I mean, so what's happening is, or what the argument is anyway, is that as you're presenting the pistol, if you're having a hard time finding that little red dot, the other digital cues will help you find it. So what we would like you to do is have that be an asympathetic process. So as you're presenting the weapon, the dot should really just appear. If it doesn't, it's asking you to come back to the pistol or to the rifle to negotiate there. That's a spatial language that you're having to work with. We don't want you to do that. What we want you to do is threat focus constantly and have that red dot, that emphatic symbol of the red dot, just kind of appear in front of you and press the trigger, because all of the problem solving needs to happen down there and not here. Or again, you're the electrician thinking about the screwdriver. Not a good idea. So I'm not going to say it's not going to happen. I don't think it should happen, and my vote is no, that it doesn't happen. So simple red dot is probably what's going to get you out of the most trouble the fastest without a loss of capacity, and it's not about a pro timer, it's about brain capacity retained in the worst moments of your life. So probably no.
All right, Viejo Lobo wants to know from Smith & Wesson, now that Smith is playing with .30 caliber handguns again, do you have any plans to reintroduce the J-frame in .327, or perhaps with a .30 Super moon clip capability?
Excellent question, and love the feedback. Not at this time, but that being said, 2022 is a wild year coming up for Smith & Wesson, so there's a lot of stuff in the pipeline. Awesome feedback, but not at this time.
All right, and we have a second question for you, for Smith, and that is the new CSX. How much is that derived from like the 2011? Would you consider it an extension of the 2011 family?
Excellent question again, and love the feedback. So no, it's not. It does. So looking at the CSX, it is very 1911-esque. I could see the correlation to a 2011 being double stack, but it is a totally different platform in itself. So not really 2011, but it is its own kind of beast in its own way. But
very similar in handling to a 1911.
It does feel very similar, but like unlike a 1911 or a 2011, you can have the safety on, manipulate the slide. There's a lot of differences in it. It is truly its own. The CSX is the CSX. It's not a 2011 or a 1911, but it does have a lot of the aesthetics.
So Dayton asks, what is the path going forward for Remington? Is Remington going to try to compete with Savage and Ruger in the entry-level market, or do they have some other path in mind?
Hi, Nick Saxey, Director of Product Management for Remington Ammunition. To answer that question, Remington is now two separate entities. The Remington Ammunition and Firearms companies were combined for over 200 years, but we were recently separated. Vista Outdoor, which is this booth here, purchased the ammunition division, and the Round Hill Group, an investment group, purchased the firearms division. And so we're two separate, completely separate entities. So I'm not able to answer the questions about what the plans are for Remington Firearms. They will have to answer that for themselves, but I can tell you that you can look at their website, you can see, look at their Facebook and see that they are producing firearms, and they do intend to produce the same firearms that they once did, 870s, 700s, things like that. But again, ammunition and firearms are completely separate and distinct companies now. And while we're here, I'll tell you, Remington Ammunition is stronger than ever. We are producing new products at a rate like we used to do back in the heyday of Remington. Matter of fact, we got new Core-Lock tipped. Core-Lock's the bread and butter. Has been the deadliest mushroom in the wood for 83 years now. We got Core-Lock tipped coming out this year, new for 2022 here at the SHOT Show. So anyway, Remington Ammunition, Vista Outdoors, stronger than ever, on a path to recovery. Big Green is back, and Remington Firearms, separate entity. Thank you.
Catlin has a question for Brownells, and that is, what would it take to offer the complete retro M16s, or the retro M16s, as complete rifles again? I know the website says that you're done doing the AR-10 pattern, but now it looks like you're also done doing complete M16s. So what's the story on that?
Yes, unfortunately, due to supplier issues, it's kind of pretty much shut the line down on the retro series and stuff. Right now, we're just not doing the complete firearms, but we will be offering individual parts so you can build your own. But maybe later on, after COVID dies down, supplier issues get back up to where everything's halfway normal, we'll look at it again. But sadly, that line is gone for now.
So it sounded like you were in a position where you'd get like one trigger pin is back ordered, and it shuts down the whole.
Shuts down the whole line and stuff. Yeah, little small parts may be out, and so that just kills everything for a while. And so instead of having a constant back order, it's just better to do individual parts.
Okay.
Yep. Sorry, but they're no longer issued or offered as a complete firearm.
Okay, but the parts are there.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Nick has a question for Kalashnikov USA, and that is, are you ever going to do Dragunovs?
Well, Nick, I can tell you here at KUSA that we have access to quite a few things as far as the original Russian data packages and prints are. We also, as we've come into 2022, want to bring as many of these wonderful Russian platforms to market as we can. And we've identified a couple of holes in our line as we've started bringing all of the 100 series models to market. We know that we have an opportunity with long-range firearms for the future, and also actual pistol platforms. And that's about as far as I'm going to go with that particular answer.
Now, you said the company's kind of gotten a reputation for over-promising and under.
Absolutely. In the past, as we transitioned from an import company to a manufacturer, I don't think it's a secret that folks know that Kalashnikov USA had a couple of stumbling blocks when it came to bringing products to market. That is no longer the case. We've put the right people in the right seats. We took advantage of the last couple of years where we've all been kind of chained to our homes and our desks. We've put a lot of our focus into our ops and manufacturing. And we've also brought in a lot of folks in the right seats to make sure that we are maintaining the quality that we expect from our platforms, but also allowing us to move much faster to market, expand our capabilities, and make sure that we don't molest the platform and keep it absolutely to the heart of who we are, which is that Russian heritage with that American innovation.
So we had several questions for Walther that all kind of came down to the same thing, and that was, is Walther going to make a CCP or a PPS with a larger capacity, and would they do it in 30 Super Carry?
With any of the micro compact stuff, probably won't be a PPS, CCP, I don't know, maybe. We're always working on cool stuff, right? But right now we're really focused on getting US manufacturing up and going here. To import anything smaller than a PPS or CCP, it has to be manufactured in the US, it just can't. So that's what we're really focusing on right now. As soon as we get that going, yeah, we're always working on cool stuff, like I said. With the caliber choices, and we get this a lot with 10 millimeter and now the 30 Super Carry, we're always looking at stuff, but still Walther, we are a little bit of a niche brand. We're not a large percentage of the market right now. We're still a higher end brand. So when we start getting in a niche brand using niche calibers, we get very dialed into a very, very small amount of people. So really we have to judge it on the popularity of the caliber. And yes, I mean, all of us, we're shooters at the office too, so we want everything too. So you can best believe that we're always asking for it and trying to push forward and do the right things as a company. So, but yeah, I hope that answers the questions good.
Ryan wanted to know if DesertTech and/or Black Label were working on developing a Black Label bipod for either the HTI or SRS bolt-action rifles.
Excellent question. At the moment, we don't have an answer to that question, unfortunately. What we could do, hypothetically, is talk about why it would or wouldn't work and what would need to be done to do so. So on the current MDR Mantis handguard, if you were to take something like this and basically create it to fit onto an SRS, the first thing you would have to do is open up the rotating cup here at the front that allows the bipod to rock. You'd have to open the interior diameter of that up so that the barrel shank of the SRS or HTI, hypothetically, could fit through that so that you could so you could retain your barrel changing capabilities. That way, the bipod would be intact, as would the rifle's ability to change calibers, which is obviously one of its greatest features.
I apologize for this one being so much shorter than the typical Q&A. I actually was a bit disappointed myself when I got back to the computer after SHOT Show and queued up all of the video answers that I had and discovered that, that took a whole day to film, and I ended up with like 12 or 13 minutes of actual content for the Q&A. So we may or may not try this again next year. I do think that we got some decent answers from people. We got some pretty good questions from people. If we did it again next year, there are probably twice as many companies that I would be able to talk to. Companies I had questions for this year, but companies that weren't actually attending SHOT Show. So anyway, hopefully you enjoyed a slightly truncated Q&A. Thanks for watching, and a big thanks to all the patrons who make Forgotten Weapons possible, both on Patreon and also on Utreon. Thanks for watching.